Here are 5 books that I've rated 5 stars so far in 2023. Starting off a little controversial due to the author, but Verity by Colleen Hoover was absolutely one of my favorite books this year. My very first Colleen Hoover book ever, and it really got me into wanting to read more thriller genre this year. So this is about a young lady named Lowen who is a not so well-known writer. She gets the opportunity to move into the home of a really famous author named Verity, who has this very popular book series. She is no longer able to finish the book series due to an accident and her being, bedridden. So her husband invites Lowen to move into their home. She goes through Verity's notes so that way she can start, to finish the book series. And as she's uncovering different notes, she uncovers a manuscript that Verity was writing. And Verity is going into detail about her relationship with her husband when they first met and started dating, when they got married, had children. And let's just say she goes into grave detail, and it's very disturbing. So Lowen is reading all of this, and she's like, Verity is not who she says she is. Jeremy, who is the husband, needs to get away from her. And it's just kind of creepy, but it's so good, and just different twists at the end. If you read the book, then you know this cover says a lot. Okay, so this is a really great book. It had a few moments where I was like, oop, jump scare, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I know Colleen Hoover kind of gets a little back and forth, but as far as, this book, I absolutely enjoyed it. So Verity by Colleen Hoover, a good 5-star read. This next book is by an author who we no longer have. She passed away this year, but before she passed, I was able to give her flowers, and she was able to receive them, so I'm forever grateful for that. If you are familiar with the urban fiction genre, then you know Tracy Brown, okay? Her latest novel was Hold You Down, and it was incredible. It's a good family story. We are following the story of 2 sisters, Mercy and Lennox, who grew up not really having any other family besides each other around, so they really relied on one another's strength, to get through life. And so as they got older, they each had a son that they're raising more like brothers than cousins. And Lennox, who wants to live this lavish lifestyle, she gets involved in something that gets her access to some easy money. But once she realizes that, what she got into really wasn't the best thing for her or her family, it's a little bit too late to get out of it. And so this is a story of how, your decisions can really affect not just yourself, but those around you. And we're following the story from the point of view of the sisters, but then as everyone's getting older, we're starting to see how all these things affected their children, their sons, and how life is turning out for them. And this book brought out every single emotion that there is to have. I bawled my eyes out, I laughed, I was mad, I was just feeling sorry. It was just such a good book, real deep, but it has some good, funny moments as well. But this is a story of, family over everything, but sometimes family can be the ones that can get you in some really rough predicaments, what you're willing to do for your family, what you're not willing to do for your family, and ultimately, when are you going to start living your life for yourself, no matter how close you are to your family. So such a great book. Hold You Down by Tracy Brown, an amazing writer, so rest in peace to her. If someone were to ask me to describe what a perfect book would be, I would simply just tell them Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I ate this book up. This book is such a great second chance romance, Black love, Black people and mental health, Black people in relationship to food. It's just so many amazing qualities in this book. Like I said, a second chance romance. We have Yasmin and Josiah Wade, who are kind of recently divorced, 2 years, and they are just navigating life individually and as a unit because they're no longer married, but they co-parent, they run a business together, they live in the same neighborhood, and something traumatic and tragic happened that led up to their divorce, and we're just trying to work through life, without them having gotten any closure and resolving anything. And do they want to get back together? Do we want them to get back together? Just so many amazing things. This book is perfection in a book. My very first Kennedy Ryan book, and after I read this, I was finding every book that she had written on the Kindle store and in physical copy. Kennedy Ryan ate this up, and she just recently showed us the cover for the second book in the series, which will be Soledad's story. If you read the book, then you know who Soledad is. I cannot wait, but we gotta wait, but I can't wait. So this story, just a beautiful Black romance, and I ate this up. I wish I could go back and read this for the very first time. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, amazing. This next book, I saw so many people talking about it, and everyone kept describing it the same way. It's so cute, it's so wholesome, it's so pure, and that is Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. I ate this book up. Now, this is like a young teen romance situation. They're like 17, graduating high school, and it's not like really grumpy sunshine, but we have Prince, who is a local radio DJ, and he gives all the love advice, and he's a ladies' man, not a player, but he's just a sweet gentleman. He takes care of his mother, he takes care of his younger brother, and he's had a crush on Danny for a very long time, but she never noticed. And Danny, she's just focusing on graduating. She loves to write. Something happened to her that kind of, made her distance herself from her former best friends and, other people, so she stays to herself. She's not trying to get sidetracked. She's just trying to be on the road to graduation and moving and stuff like that. So when they finally connect and start, conversing with one another, he's trying to convince her to go on these dates with him because he really likes her, and he's like, if you get to know me and hang out with me, then you'll like me too. So their dates, they're not your typical let's just go see a movie and go out to eat. No, they're really thoughtful, and he pays attention to her, interests, and he bases the dates around those. And we just get to see their journey, just falling for each other. It's just, you see, I cannot talk about this book without just smiling like this. I absolutely love this book. It's the most adorable thing. And the fifth and final book should not come as a surprise. I was on a whole rant about it, a good rant, this past month or so. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. When I tell you I ate this book up, I know I said that for the past few books, but when I tell you I grabbed my fork and knife and ate this book up, the cover is gorgeous. It's been a long time since I've read any fantasy novel. It was back in high school, so we're thinking 10 plus years ago, right? Dang. But I haven't read any fantasy novels in my adulthood, and so I saw people talking about this, and I was like, let me go ahead and get it. And this book was so amazingly done because I feel like I was comfortable with reading it because, listen, fantasy can be a very intimidating genre with the language and the vocabulary and the world building. If you're not familiar with it, it can be a little daunting, but the way this was written is very easy to understand. You still get that world building, you still get the fantasy aspect, there's a little bit of romance in here, and I absolutely love it. I feel like I don't really have to talk about what this book is about, but we're following our homegirl, Violet, who is going off to this war college, and she thought she was going to go to the scribe quadrant because she's been preparing her whole life for that, but her mother, who is also the general, she's like, no, baby girl, you're going to become a dragon rider because none of my children are going to be scribes. All my children will be writers, okay? And everyone is like, why is Violet in the writers quadrant? She is not going to last, okay? And we're just following her along her first year at this war college. She has all these targets on her back. She's not really what you would expect a typical dragon rider to look like physically. You gotta have some type of strength and muscle and all that type of stuff, and she is the complete opposite of that. Her last name holds a lot of bad weight as well. Like I said, her mother is the general who oversaw a lot of people's parents' executions, so people could want to kill her just for that, and people look at her as the weakest link so they can get rid of her for that. Like, it's crazy. The dragon aspect of this was so cool, bonding with the dragon and the different signets that you get, her friendships that she developed here. I absolutely loved it. There was a character in here that I could not stand, and I was like, Rebecca, when are you going to write this person out the book? Please hurry up. They're getting on my nerves. Again, Zayden Ryerson. Hey, y'all. If you watch my book reviews about this, in the beginning, I was like, now, why are y'all so hype about Zayden? He is trying to kill this girl. Like, what is going on? I got it. I understand. And then we also get introduced to one of her childhood best friends, Dane, who was a year older than her. Like, we ain't gonna talk too much, and I cannot wait for the sequel to come out, Iron Flame. We got one more month, y'all. I am so ready. And today they released the new cover, like the holiday edition of Fourth Wing with the sprayed edges. Rebecca, talk to me. Talk to me, okay? Listen. So this book was incredible. I cannot wait for Iron Flame. This took me on a ride, and low-key, if I could go back and read it for the first time, I wish I could. But those are some of my 5-star reads. Next, I'll do the ones that I rated 5 stars that I read on my Kindle, so stay tuned for that. But let me know what your 5-star reads have been thus far, and give me some, recommendations on authors and series and books and the whole 9, okay? Love y'all. Bye.